everyone, welcome back to my channel and another Technique Junkies video featuring a stamp from the May release. Remember, you can get 10% off by using my discount code TJ10Color. Today's video, we're going to reproduce this card that I made for the design team. And it's Father's Day card and it's fishing related, so I thought I'd make it pretty manly here. So let's go ahead and get started. I started out using some Tim Holtz watercolor, distress watercolor paper, and I'll be using the smooth side. And I'm going to lay my paper down inside, and I've got a piece of acetate that I keep with my stamping platform so that I can make sure that my stamps are going on straight. And so I just stamp that down with just a light touch of VersaFine Clair in the Nocturne, because it wipes off the acetate really easily. And make sure that I'm good with my placement. If I'm happy with my placement, I'll just wipe that off and remove the acetate and go ahead and stamp down. I am going to wipe off my stamp because I do want to use this Distress Archival ink in a espresso, ground espresso. Because I'm keeping things, you know, in the brown tones, in the antique-y look. So I just stamp that down and press down really good with my pressure tool, and oftentimes, especially on watercolor paper, it's going to take a couple of stampings. And notice how I both rub and tap on my stamp to make sure that I'm getting full ink coverage on it. So third time's a charm here. We'll be good with that. There we go. It's nice and dark, so it almost looks black. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting. And I am going to be painting with some Catherine Pooler inks and my my little brush. And I'll link a video down below where I've done a more full of the painting with the inks. So I'll paint a little bit of it here, and then I'll paint the rest off camera, because it's basically the same process. I'm going in light with, you know, more water, and then go grab some of the more concentrated to add the little shadows. And I'll paint the whole thing in varying colors. And once I get that all painted, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got it painted the way I want it. And I know the bottom looks cool. It doesn't really look like, it kind of looks like they're floating straight in the water, but that's okay because we have a plan. So I got that wet, and I'm putting it down in this embossing folder. And I don't mind that it kind of got watery. That's exactly the look I'm looking for. So now I'm going to grab just a piece of 80-pound accent opaque paper, and I'm going to put it in this other embossing folder that looks like leather. I don't know if you can see that pattern, but you'll see it once I color it in. Yeah, see, I'm okay with that splotchiness right there. It's part of the charm of this card. So I'm going to take my antique photo or vintage photo distress ink, and I'm going to color this whole thing in the vintage photo. I'll start coloring on camera, and then I'll finish that off camera. I'm just rubbing it on, and it's okay about the splotchy parts, because what I'm trying to get is I'm trying to get this to look like leather. So I'm going to use some of my stitched border dies, and I'm going to cut out the two pieces. So this one's obviously going to be smaller, and I'm just kind of placing it where I want it, and I'll run that through my die cut machine. And it's still a little damp, so yeah. So we've got that cut out, and next I'm going to go ahead and cut out the leather piece, so to speak. So I did get that dirty with a little bit of antique or vintage photo ink. You can see where I rubbed it on there to kind of get a dirty, grungy look on it. Because again, I want it to look old, antique-y, vintage. And so that kind of made it for the water. So we've got this cut out now. And I'm just going to go over a couple of spots where I got little pieces of paper there. And it really doesn't matter because the middle is going to be covered. I could actually cut that out and use it for something else, but I'm not. So I've got my two pieces. So in order to get this one to really bring out the leathery look, I'm going to use this Distress Glaze. And I just apply it with my finger. And I'm only applying it around the edges because, again, the middle is going to be covered up. There's no point in wasting my glaze, right? So see how it got shiny there and it's already starting to look like leather? Then you just take a clean paper towel and kind of buff it out. There we've got our 2 pieces going. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of grunge up the edges a little bit more of this piece right here, and particularly at the bottom half. So that's just kind of my homage to get some color in this thing. And I'm just going to hit it with a dryer real quick. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this piece down to the other piece. And I'm putting quite a bit of glue on because it is a textured piece. I want to make sure it sticks really well. So we'll just stick that down on there, and I'll put something heavy on it and let it dry. Okay, we've got this piece dry. Now let's go to work on the inside of the card. So I'm just going to put this dad stamp in here, and I'm putting my card base in here sideways, and I'm going to go ahead and put my acetate on because I want to make sure I stamp that straight because I'm going directly down. And I really like to go directly down with my stamps whenever possible, unless I have a specific die to cut out words or things like that. It's my preference. So I'm just checking my placement, and I can see that it's crooked, right? So I'm just going to adjust it on the stamping platform a little bit. I'll wipe this off. I won't put more ink on. I'll stamp it back down, and there I'm happy with my placement. So again, I'm wiping it off because I'm going to use a different color ink. I'm going to go ahead and use the Ground Espresso Archival ink on that. And see how I'm kind of rubbing and dabbing, giving it a good push, some good pressure. And I'll just keep on stamping it until it's as dark as I want it, because I want it pretty dark. So I mean, you can obviously tell it's brown, and blue and brown are a great combination, especially for a guy card. So there we go, happy with that. Let's go ahead and set that aside and let it dry because it is wet. Don't want to smear it. And I made a little fly here, and I'm not going to show the whole process but we'll be here all day. But making sure that and I used this twine, and I just basically made kind of a, I don't know, like a pom-pom type thing, I guess. Now, if you had already a fly that you could attach to the card, that'd even be better, but Mike probably has some, but I do not know where they are. So I've got these all cut up, and I'm just going to fold them in half, and I'll go ahead and finish that off camera. So I tied a little piece of a green feather onto there, and now I've got some just regular twine, and I'm going to be wrapping my twine around basically the edge of the dock there. So I kind of have a separation between the dock that just seems to be floating. Now you could trim this at the dock if you had stamped it lower, or if I had stamped it out lower. Or you can leave it, or you can draw on more dock, or you can do whatever you want with it. So now we've got our twine on and getting ready to put it on the card. I do want to pop it up because of the twine. So I'm just going to use a little bit of foam tape and just tape it down. And that will kind of mitigate the way that the twine sticks out. So I'll pull off the paper backing off the foam tape. I'll aim and fire. Drop it on, hope for the best. Most of the time I get it right. And then I'll go ahead and just tie my little fly right onto this card, so that it's kind of, just a sort of an accent piece. And then I want to turn it until I want to make sure you can see my little feather here. Just put a little bit of glue. Turn it around a little bit. Yeah, I want to make sure my feather is on the top. Add some more glue. Then I'm going to put my tweezers on here to hold it, and then put something heavy on it until the glue dries, which is probably about 10 minutes. All right, that's done. Here's our Father's Day card with a little fly on it. You're the dad everyone wishes they had. What father would not love a fishing card, huh? I hope you like this video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Bye-bye. Have a great day.